My name is Adam Dyson. I sing in Withdrawal, and I play bass in Ill-Fated. It's a straight edge band. Withdrawal, not a straight edge band, but from Winnipeg. I'm 30 years old, so I'm way too old to be doing the things that I do.
And why are you in Toronto?
I'm in Toronto because we're playing Not Dead Yet Festival, and playing it tomorrow. We came a couple of days early just because we wanted to hang out, check out some bands, escape from our horrible lives in Winnipeg because we have kids and fucking jobs and all that stupid shit.
What's the best band you've seen at Not Dead Yet so far?
Well, to be honest, we went to the Thursday show and I didn't really have much interest in the Friday show, but I'd say Iron Lung or Column of Heaven, who I thought sucked on recording, but they were fucking awesome live. So they were really fucking good. And that was pretty much all we did. Other than that, on Thursday, we just went to Hard Luck Bar and put Hatebreed on the PA because our friends own the place, and we're just fucking moshing to Hatebreed over PA. So that, I guess Hatebreed was the best band I heard, but then Iron Lung was second best.
And how did you originally get involved in the straight edge scene? Oh, many years ago.
Well, when I was a little kid, I was just kind of like paranoid about drugs being something that would like fuck up your life. And I mean, like, I'm talking like when I was like 7 years old or like 10 years old, being like pinky swearing with my twin brother, being like, let's never do drugs because they ruin lives and they're bad for you and all that stuff. And then I stuck with it, and all the horrible, like, paranoid, like, assumptions I had about drugs when I was a kid pretty much all turned out correct. And there were, you know, but so yeah, the way I really, like, so I was always like a drug-free kind of guy. I maybe like took like sips of beers at like 13, and like I probably have only drank about like the neck of a beer, and but then around like 15, I think it was New Year's, I was just like, fuck, from now on I'm into straight edge, because like me and my brother started getting into punk around then, and like he was telling, you know, Joel kind of showed me Minor Threat, but I kind of got into like just kind of doing research on it. I've always been like a research guy for checking out bands, and I kind of like checked out all the Boston bands. Like I was like into like 10 Yard Fight and Slapshot. Slapshot was huge for me, and SSD Control was really big on it, just because they were like angry straight edge, not like Minor Threat. Now I'm older and I kind of like Youth Crew a lot more, and I kind of like Youth of Today. And well, the thing is, like, he's shaking his head, but the thing is, like, look at the shit. Like, I think Youth Crew or Youth of Today is arguably as important to straight edge as Minor Threat is, because they took the blueprint of it and fucking did the touring circuits and like made like a fucking an image that like you see a Youth of Today shirt and it's like a message or a slogan, and it's like, fuck, that's Youth of Today. And like all those shirts where it's just like, you know, break down the wall, like fucking Capo. I mean, Capo lost his fucking mind, but back then they were pretty untouchable, so I think they're pretty important. But yeah, like
the yoga.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I signed up for Ray Capo's raw vegan cooking mailing list, and every fucking day I'd get emails and it'd be like, here's a real good treat, and it's all misspelt, and it's like, here's a real good treat, and every fucking one of them is like raw cocoa, fucking avocado and agave fucking honey and shit like that, and it's like, thanks Ray, thanks Raguna. But anyways, so yeah, so I got into straight edge when I was 15.
And I hear Winnipeg's got a problem with drug addicts being picked up by police officers and dropped off in the middle of nowhere.
How's that a problem? I mean, I haven't heard all that much about it, but like, there's so many fucking sketch bags in Winnipeg and like shitty like street urchins crawling the streets like, hey, give me $1, and you're like, fuck off, buddy. They're just human garbage. There's like a big like. We got a song called Human Garbage Existence Disease, and it's all about, there's like a fucking giant mall that they built in the 70s, and the whole thing was supposed to revitalize downtown, but it just turned into like a roach motel for people and like just filth inside of it.
And
but
do you think that you would be one of the human garbage people if you hadn't been straight edge?
Oh man, definitely. Like, I come from a sketchy area of the city called St. James. Like, it's hard as hell, and it's like, it's a fucking, like, there's a crew mentality in St. James. But like, everyone that I grew up with was like into like Dead Kennedys and like fucking Exploited and like I don't know, Blitz but not Blitz's like post-punk record, like their shitty like fucking Mohawk record or like skinhead records, but like everyone just grew up being like, it's like a race to get as drunk as possible, and like people pissing themselves and fucking like, it's kind of not funny, but I don't really give a fuck. But a lot of people that I've been to like high school with are like dying recently, and it's like, well, you know, I'll log on to Facebook and it'll be like, Timmy Johnson just had a fucking, you know, overdose on muscle relaxants and fucking died. He had 3 kids. I'm like, well, fuck Timmy. So, but yeah, like if I wasn't straight edge, I'd be probably a waste case like those guys. None of them amounted to shit. I know kids who like, you know, grew up playing guitar in their fucking room and they rip and they're fucking amazing guitarists. Never playing a fucking band because they're too busy just fucking doing drugs and shit like that. And all those people are also the types who are like, this is kind of taking a left turn here, but I gotta address it. But if you ever meet someone who's like, drugs expand my mind, man. You know, drugs really open the door to my creative output. That people say, and like, oh, I'm taking DMT and doing like 4 dimensions in my mind and really being creative. And those guys, they either never do shit or the shit that they put out's awful. So don't ever let anyone tell you that shit's like the fucking key to their creativity. Because if they were straight edge, they'd have like 3 or 4 LPs out that were sick. It's just bullshit. But,
okay, so here's a question for you. In order to make it and to have stayed straight edge for so long, do you think it's important to have a sense of humor about it and not take it too seriously?
I mean, you take it seriously for yourself. You can't be like, you can't look at some guy across the room who's straight edge and be like, you know, okay, let me think that over. I kind of like, because it's like, I'm straight edge just because I'm straight edge, and I don't give a fuck if anyone else is straight edge to an extent. I mean, obviously it's better, but like, well, no, I mean that, but I mean like, but you know, if Jimmy Two Step shows up and like says he's the most straight edge fucking dude on the planet, and all he listens to is straight edge hardcore, and all he talks about is straight edge, and all he does is look up straight edge fucking videos on YouTube and shit like that, and then fucking 6 months later, like people laugh him out of the fucking scene, and then they fucking break edge and they get into like fucking dubstep or like fucking like trap rap and like shit like that. You see that shit all the time, so like you gotta be able to just be like, hey, I'm just straight edge for me. I don't really give that much of a shit about like, you know, people who treat it not like a gang, but just like it's the only thing that they identify with. I don't know. So I don't know. I think you got to be able to laugh about it, and like, I mean, I'm 15 years deep into this shit. I'm not going anywhere. But you know.
And what's Withdrawal and Ill Fated got in store these days?
Withdrawal just finished recording 2 days worth of drum tracks for a full length. It's gonna be 11 songs. We haven't put out a full-length record yet just because we had so many lineup changes and all that shit. People having kids and jobs and everything. But we finally just kind of like whipped our dicks out on the table and said, let's fucking measure. And we put the measuring stick pretty fucking big because this fucking LP is gonna molest you. And it's pretty fucking good. So it's 11 songs, and we're gonna have that finished by December because my brother's having a fucking kid. So he's gotta be able to, yeah, he's gotta do that shit up before he can be a hardcore daddy. And then we're gonna finish that up, and then artwork's gonna get done, and we got some ideas for that. And hopefully it'll be out in June, maybe on A389, I think. Some Toronto Day of Mourning members there, but so yeah, so that's what Withdrawal is up to. And then we're just gonna tour. I don't know if we're gonna do like the big like 20 or 30-day tours anymore, just because we're all old and kids and shit. But we're gonna do like flyouts and stuff because we all make grown-ass money now. But I'm a lot more miserable than when I was making $600 a month and touring all the time. Now I like work every day at like 5 in the morning. Fucking brutal. But yeah, Ill Fated is because like Ill Fated, like everyone, surprise, surprise, everyone who talked a lot of shit about being like super straight edge and super down with the scene really hard, you know, they all broke edge and they all fucking dropped out. So everyone in Ill Fated, the previous lineup, minus the singer, is a fucking nerd and fucking bailed. But Ill Fated, we got like 2 or 3 new songs. We got a full new lineup. I'm playing bass in it, playing the dummy stick. And man, if you want to interview anyone about straight edge, you gotta talk to our singer Jazz Dave. He's fucking ignorant about it in the best way possible. Like he doesn't give a shit about anyone straight edge but himself, but he will talk shit so hard. So like good friends of ours, like, and they'll be moshing for his own band. And he'll be like, "Fuck you, you fucking broke edge." But yeah, so I think we're gonna do a new demo for sure, just to be like, to bury the old lineup and be like, "Yo, still here, still edge." So that's the plan with them. Then we might do like weekend warrior shit, like play down in Fargo. There's a band called Rage that's really sick down there, and then play in like Regina and Calgary and all those fucking stupid places. Spread the glory of the gospel of the straight edge, man.
All right, Adam. Well, thanks for your time, dude. Let's go watch some fucking cold.
Thanks, bro.